What's up guys, LeopoldTheBrave here, just playing some Nickelodeon AllStar Brawl. Well, not really playing it, just commentating over replays that I previously played online because I can't commentate and play at the same time, my brain isn't good enough for that. But anyways, we'll talk about that in a bit. First up on the docket though is Sora in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Everyone knows right now my most wanted was Crash Bandicoot, and I already got one of my dream picks with Kazuya representing Tekken, and I was predicting Rayman for the last fighter. But let me tell you that Sora definitely still means a ton to me, and I'm incredibly happy that he's in. My first memory of Kingdom Hearts is when I was super young, maybe 7 or 8, and I received it as a birthday gift, but there was one problem. It was for the PS2, and at the time, we only had a PlayStation 1. So I just had to sit there for about a year looking at this magical box art with characters that I cherished like Donald and Goofy, unable to experience what was on the disc. That is until my next birthday when I finally got the PlayStation 2 and it was the first thing I popped in. And I gave up on it a couple hours into Destiny Islands because we didn't have any memory cards at the time. But then, a couple months later, we did get memory cards for it, and I had one of the best gaming experiences of my entire life. For those unfamiliar with Sora, or even people who are angry with his inclusion calling him another anime sword fighter, Kingdom Hearts isn't your typical RPG. In fact, it's not turn-based at all, it's actually good, and fun. You have full and complete control of Sora as you move and platform around various nostalgic Disney environments and worlds. The combat is very rich and deep, there's so much variety in the enemies and bosses you fight, and the story, while incredibly corny and cheesy, is still very fun and charming. I mean, you're playing as Sword Naruto running around with Mickey Mouse. If you expect something serious, that's your fault. But overall, Kingdom Hearts 1, very good experience, and Kingdom Hearts 2 just amplified things even further. The worlds were bigger, the combat was even faster and more detailed, and the story was even more ridiculous.
Hey, no cutting!
Then after that, I went into Kingdom Hearts 358 over 2 days or whatever it was called on the DS, and that kind of destroyed my interest in the series, because they kept sticking to all these spin-offs instead of making a proper Kingdom Hearts 3. Until eventually, they did announce Kingdom Hearts 3 like almost a decade later, so I decided to catch up on the spin-offs anyways, and they turned out to actually not be that bad. Apparently, 358 over 2 days is considered by most in the fanbase to be the weakest entry of the series, so I guess it makes sense why I fell off after it. But either way, I have an extremely long relationship with Kingdom Hearts that spans almost the entire franchise, since its very beginning. So I'm super overjoyed and excited to play as Sora in Super Smash Bros. Now, on the day Sora was revealed, we also got the release of Nickelodeon AllStar Brawl, a game I was really looking forward to. I follow the esports scene a lot, I just generally find it pretty fun and interesting, especially the fighting game community. And leading up to the release of Nick AllStar Brawl, we were all super excited because the creators were putting a lot of love and care and attention to detail in here to make sure this game could be competitively viable. And while I do think they did a good job, there are a couple things here and there that feel a bit iffy. Now, I'm no professional, so I'm not any authority on whether this stuff is good or bad, but there are some things that I noticed to be a bit off. One of the biggest things is the wave dashing. Everyone was super excited about this mechanic, but something seems wrong to me. Typically, wave dashing is an advanced maneuver to give you a mobility advantage over your opponent, depending on how well you're able to do it. But in Nick AllStar Brawl, it's way too easy to pull off. It's not some advanced tech that you can master and get better at the game with, it's just something everyone can do, it's just another part of the game. If you have never touched a platform fighter before, and the first thing you wanted to do in this game was wave dash, you'll get it first try. In fact, you don't even have to press down on the controller to do a downwards aerial dash in Waveland. You can just press jump and guard at the same time and it'll automatically activate. It doesn't quite feel like a tool you can refine here, it's just a basic part of the game. Another minor gripe I have is that nothing feels certain. If you're at the edge of the stage and you get hit by a strong attack at like 12%, you'll die. Then, if you're like a couple inches closer to the center and at 70% or something and get hit with a strong attack, you'll be just fine. It doesn't really feel like there's KO percents, it feels like the percent doesn't matter at all, it's more like there's thresholds of damage. It's super inconsistent. Now, none of these things are big flaws, they're super duper tiny, and if you just want to have fun with the game and play casually, not trying to be competitive or anything, they aren't flaws at all. The feel of the gameplay as a whole is super great, it's super quick, super snappy and responsive, and all the characters have plenty of variety in their movesets and playstyle. It's just that I, as an individual, am really looking forward to the potential competitive scene, and those tiny little things worry me a bit. Now, regardless of those teeny tiny things here or there, this is definitely going to get a huge competitive scene, no way to avoid it. My fear is that it'll just be jokey and self-contained, like Shrek Super Slam's competitive scene. I know it sounds super weird to hear someone say they want to see Nickelodeon All-Stars taken seriously and show up at EVO or something. But with how Nintendo has treated the idea of Smash being competitive, I just want to see justice for platform fighters. Also, I may just want to see Garfield main in sponsored players' Twitter bios. But overall, the game feels fantastic. The gripes I mentioned are only gripes if you want to take the game super duper seriously. As for the rest of the game, the amount of content is rather low, but I'm sure they're gonna add more over time. DLC has already been approved. As for the online, day 1 was super rough, but day 2 was actually a lot better. I don't know if it's gonna stay consistently good throughout the game's lifetime, but we'll see. In its entirety, Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl is a good game. It's not quite as grand as I was hoping for, but it's definitely a lot better than it could have been considering the budget they were likely given. I say get it for yourself. It'll definitely hold you over until Sora releases for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, and it'll be fun to come back to when Smash eventually starts to feel stale to you again. But let me know what you guys think. Are you excited for Sora, and what do you think of Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl? Tell me in the comment section below, and I'll see you guys next time. LeopoldTheBrave, out.